Bang.
You've done that with pigs, haven't you, Kyle?
Shot pigs?
Like go around shooting them in Texas?
Like,
Am I making
Pigs are
sense?
nicer than pit bulls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Apparently
can't
in
even eat
Texas, they have such a pig problem
Mhm.
that they've just legalized going around in pickup trucks and shooting all the pigs.
that
you
is
see.
not
I'm,
accurate.
I'm going on a hog hunt
It's
soon.
my story, and I'll tell it the way I want to.
In Houston, if you know the sheriff well enough out in that county, he will write you a piece of paper that says that you have permission to shoot in the city limits. And basically he's saying, you're doing something against the law for us. Now get after it. And so that is what we were doing. We were under written permission to do everything we did. You cannot drive in the city limits of Houston shooting suppressed firearms in neighborhoods without permission.
Now
Who's
that you
going to
say it
stop
like
you?
that-
A good guy with a
Oh,
gun.
nobody could have fucking stopped us. There was an M249 saw in the back seat. There was like 8 of us. We all had rifles. Like several of us had night vision with IR lasers and stuff. Like in
That's
case you don't know,
hilarious.
IR laser you can only see with the goggles on, and it's like a superpower because now you can point and you at 50 yards a laser's all you need. You don't need optics.
When is your pig trip that you're going on?
We're trying to do it end of next month, somewhere around there. I'm getting married on the 30th, so I've got like this.
Congratulations, and
Thank you.
sorry.
Thanks, and I appreciate the condolences. Thanks for both. And then we're getting after I get back from the as far as I know, yeah.
I meant for you.
As far as I know, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Goodness gracious. Well, I
That's not your honeymoon, is it?
sincerely congratulations.
no, I was gonna say thank you. I was gonna say after the honeymoon, after we get back from that, she's got some business trip she's got to go out on, which means I've got 5 days to go to Texas with some like other gun tube people and go shoot some hogs. So I'm looking forward to that.
Nice.
Like I built out a rifle to do it with, stuff like that. We're going to do it under nods. It'll be fun.
Yeah,
I'll be. It's right in here. I can grab it if you want. Is it cool to show stuff on stream?
All right, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
One uno momento.
Point
Kyle,
it directly
I'm
at the
predicting
camera.
it is a 308.
No way. He's gonna have probably a short. If he's doing helicopter, it'll be short barreled, but like a short barreled AR-15. I bet he's got like
for pigs.
I bet he's got like a small like scope on it, not a red dot. He's got like a 3x9. I'm trying to think of the one from Tarkov in particular, like the Vortex or whatever Vortex. Yeah, like one of those on there. That's my guess, and maybe even a shell catcher.
Ooh. So
Let's see.
I've got this one's my dad's going with me as well, so I built one out for him. So this is my go-to, my baby girl. It's an SR-15, a Knights. I'm a Knights fangirl. I really like the CAC stuff.
Oh, cool.
Got my Night Force 1 to 8. Got all my little night vision doohickeys on there. It's definitely a legal pec. Don't look for where a serial number is supposed to be or anything. I would never do such a thing. Of course not. Because like I can load this thing up with robot killers, like A1 ammo, and be fine against.
I don't know
hogs, my
SR-15.
understanding,
What's
so.
the caliber of them?
It's an AR-15. The SR-15 is just Knights model of it. Knights are the guys who still have the original patent on the AR-15, and they've changed a bunch of stuff to it over the years. This is currently like the Spec Ops or like Special Forces gun of choice. They've done a bunch of weird stuff to the bolts and the inside. It's just like it's a Gucci out AR-15 basically. And this is I've had this thing forever, so I'm just going to use that. For my dad, I got him this. So this is an AR-10 308. I actually found this on a pretty solid deal for like the upper. I got that built out the lower. It's a Nordic lower. It's got a SIG 1 to 10 on top of it. I'm not crazy about SIG's optics, but I also don't plan to be shooting anything from like 300 yards or anything. They're hogs. We'll be decently close. And my dad really likes 308 stuff, so I was like, he'll be right at home. He'll be
when
fine.
you weren't here, we were guessing the caliber. I said 308 and Kyle said 223 or 556.
Well, you were both right, technically.
It's kind of worked out like that.
That's a loud motherfucking gun.
That one's going to fuck the pig up more.
I've got a couple of cans to throw on these. I need to get a Surefire brake. This is a dead air brake. I need to get a Surefire because most of my 308 cans are Surefire. So we'll throw cans on them, but it's not going to help with a 308. So it's still going to be a real. It'll help. It's not going to make it quiet by any means.
A 308 with a brake on it is something to behold. It is very loud. It's not uncomfortably loud. It's painfully loud.
What are you?
There's a guy in the group hurting you.
That you hate by the end of the day because he's hurting.
Not by the end of the day. 3 shot. All right. If we were standing shoulder to shoulder, and my head was turned to the left, so my ear is, squared to more to your barrel than to you, and you let off 3, I'm in pain. I'm done. I'm walking away. Like, were you fucking asshole? Like, why didn't you warn me? It's
not
so
with hearing
loud.
Protection, though, right?
With hearing protection, who fucking cares? You can be in a bomb. You can be in a tank and then blow a house up on top of yourself. Nothing's loud with hearing protection.
Just checking.
Yeah. I mean, I guess some things are, but nothing I've ever experienced. I think you just liquefy. You're like, you just get that shock wave that turns your insides to jelly or something if you're hearing through ear pro.
Don't you hate
what kind of hunting are you going to do? You may have just said and I didn't hear it, but are you going to heli or
it's going to be probably stalk hunting. I got a buddy down there, Operator Drewski, on YouTube. He makes that guy. Me and him are good friends.
Stalk hunting mean you're walking?
It means you're walking.
His Tarkov stuff's really good.
Oh yeah. I'm in a couple of his Tarkov videos. Me and him play together.
Yeah, I've seen you there.
Cool. But yeah, Drew's a great guy. I met him on the movie set we went to because he was filming all our behind the scenes stuff. And me and him hit it off really well. But he doesn't do as much now because YouTube's kind of taken off for him. But before YouTube, he would as like a summer job, he'd go to like farms around the area and be like, hey, if you pay me like however much a hog, I'll take care of that hog problem for you. So he does a lot of stalk hunting. So I'm going to go with him. So I'm gonna be with those nods back there wherever they're at, the BNVDs. I'm gonna hook those up and do some night vision shooting. Should be fun. It's definitely fair, they're just feral animals, and I've got like $40,000 of tech on me. It's a fair fight.
Him or me.
I was in defense of my life.
I feared for my life. Sexual assault or rape.
I've been stalk hunting twice. One more successfully than the other. One, we only really heard them because it was so thick that we couldn't stalk them. They would just hear us coming. And we were just we were walking through the woods with SKSs. It was like Vietnam. It was so cool. It was so thick in South Georgia and mosquitoes everywhere. And I had an SKS with a bayonet on it because I was hoping that they had told us this place was infested with hogs. They're like, you can't throw a rock without hitting one. And so I'm down there with an SKS with a fucking clip in it, like a magazine in it, like an extendo mag. And we never even saw one. We heard them. But then in Texas, I stayed with these guys once. It was supposed to be a fun hunting trip. And it ended up being like, man, I got lied to. Because these guys just had this shitty fucking like house, I guess you'd call it, in the middle of nowhere, Texas. And they're like, yeah, that's Daddy's old land we hunt on. and you just had to go out there and try to find a pig. And one of the guys that was there was a wild man, and he hunted them in the daytime. So he would crawl on his hands and knees. In Texas, there are these briars and brambles. And that's where they were bedding down, like deep in those. And he crawled hands and knees through that shit till he found where they were bedding down and glocked one. With a Glock 19 fucking that on a hip holster, draws, shoots one of them, gets it. It's a goddamn piglet that weighs maybe like 15 pounds. He cooked it in a hub, like a wheel, like the old wheel of a car. He made a fire and sat that on top. And he was drizzling pickle juice on it while it cooked on that tire. I ate a piece. It seemed rude not to after he crawled through the briars for it.
Was it good?
It wasn't bad. I didn't ask for seconds or anything.
Bro,
Stalking's hard.
Did that guy know he wasn't literally in Vietnam?
So his YouTube was a combination of bow hunting that was fake and real. He's like, a lot of my kills real, Kyle. A lot of my kills real. Like, right, he's showing me his fucking videos. I don't give a shit. I didn't know people faked hunting videos before this, and he's just like coming clean to me, like that his videos are faked. But he's putting these animals in pens and around feeders and stuff, and then he's like climbing the tree next to like a pen. and shooting these big pigs and stuff for his YouTube channel. And I'm like, dude, I don't fucking care. I don't fucking care. But he really did crawl out there in those briars and glock down that piglet. That was
What the
badass.
heck? That's intense.
That's also where we my cousin and I, like, we were in a blind and the pigs all came out to feed, and it was just they come in a crowd, like 8 or 10 adults, and then you don't even know what the ages are. It's just every size. Like oh, this one's a year old, this one's a year and 2 months old, and everything in between. They're just we just opened up on a fucking crowd of them, and I had a 308 like AR-10, really similar to what you've got there, and I think he had a bolt gun. He got off 3 good shots, and we laid a lot of pigs out like that. You got to be fast though, because once you start shooting,
they'll just scramble. Yeah,
depending on where you are, and you wouldn't want to talk about it publicly per se, but tannerite can really maximize your killing your killing potential of your squad. Okay, as much as a belt fed would get the same job done, but just 25-30 pounds of tannerite out there.
Assuming you're on like private property or whatever, like there's no like state issues around it. Since hogs are pest animals in Texas, you could get away with that, right? With again, like you said, you wouldn't talk about publicly for social reasons, but legally.
I've known lots of people who did it. I've seen it done. I've seen it done with Hi-Ex, and I've seen it done with tannerite. I've seen it done with all sorts of, we'll say, media added in to add like extra killing power. I've seen det cord used to chop their heads off at a feeding trough, because you got it set up so they all have to put their head under.
Oh, man.
A fat load of det cord. So it's on the back of their spine, pressed with to it. And they're all eating their bananas and peanut butter and grain or whatever. And, just
that breaks the trough too, right?
No, imagine a string basically that they have to put their head under to get to the trough. And it's just kind of sitting on the back of their necks. That's det cord. It's a string that's explosive.
I have a tech question.
Det cord can get used to like breach doors and stuff. It's not that big of a Are these things you're killing pigs, hogs, swine, or boars?
All.
It'd be boars.
Boars.
Yeah.
A group of boars.
Anything I see.
A group of boars is called a singular. I didn't know that, but maybe you can look smart
and say, hey,
counterintuitive.
If I'm out there in the woods and someone's like, all right, let's go kill this boar, and I'm like, don't you mean a singular? I'm gonna get shot.
Call it an oink. 3 or more pigs is an oink.
He's a bit of a smart ass.
That's not true. A group of pigs is a drift or a drove. Hogs is a passel or a team.
Passel. I've heard old timers say passel. Yeah.
And a group of swine is a sounder.
I've heard people referred to as drovers. In Westerns, you'd call someone a drover. So that's like calling them a shepherd, but for pigs. I'm putting together now.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I'm kind of.
It'd probably be easier to shepherd pigs around because they're much smarter than sheep.
To drove them around, you mean?
To drove them around, of course.
Yeah, it'd be more difficult, I'd say. Yeah.
More difficult? Maybe pigs aren't afraid of sheepdogs.
Well, I guess it depends on the domestication.
Add drove to your repertoire for code names. We're going to need that.
What's so freaky about pigs is that they can go feral in one generation, right? So they can go from like just pink and happy to like man killer and just their offspring.
That's what I meant by all of the
Do you know how shocked those pig parents are?
Fair.
The pig parents who escape from the pen and they start having pig children, and then they're like what's,
hairy,
what's
they got
happening to this new generation of pigs? They're nothing to us.
Yeah, that's why the South has such a pig problem, because in the Reconstruction era of the South, after all the farms and plantations were destroyed and all the animals were released, you had all of these farms that had thousands of hogs on them that are now reproducing rapidly. I think the gestation time for a pig's like 2 months, so there could be hundreds and hundreds of these things in a year's time, and then they grow up and they start killing kids, they start tearing up crops, they start wrecking people's houses. And that's why, to this day, it's like a pest animal. If you can see him, kill him.
I went to 2 different helicopter pig hunting places. I think one of them was like Heli Bacon and the other was something else. But
Heli Bacon.
You go through the same program everybody else does. And we sat there and watched a video about how awful pigs were to Texas. It was like they made a propaganda film to get you ready for what we were about to go do. Because it was that fucking grisly. They're like, just so in case any of you who came here to pay $650 an hour are squeamish about killing pigs, watch this. It's like, dude, we're all here to fucking shoot. Like,
we know the
down.
score. Yeah.
We're down to clown. And he shows us this video about like millions of property damage. And he starts telling me, can you believe that some of the Houston Texans players' yards were damaged? And I'm like, I couldn't give a fuck less about some millionaire football player's goddamn turf being bad for one afternoon until he got somebody to fix it because of a pig. I'm here to shoot, but no, watch more. And so we were making a video for Scott's channel, this like silly hunter channel, and I was like, turns out they're not that bad. They just cause property damage and eat corn and shit. Let's say they ate a kid though, and everybody's like, what? I was like, let's say it ate a kid. I was like, can you say it ate a kid with a straight face, Scott? And it took him all day, but eventually he could say that the pig had eaten a child. And,
it ate a kid?
Like, and then when he's out there hunting, he's like, this one's for Billy.
I mean, pigs would eat a kid. It was opportunity that they didn't.
Yeah. I've heard
They
stories like, it was a story for where I was. I lived up in Kentucky. That it was like the mayor of the town my parents were from, or like some sheriff, some
Boss hog
position.
Yeah,
that boss hog. That his children were killed by a hog. Like one day, they were just playing on the front porch. Hog runs up, just gores them to death, just like tusks, beats them down. Do you like that?
Can you imagine the story? I'm imagining the Kentucky accent. He's like, my boy was killed by a hog. My girl was killed by a hog too. My Uncle Delmer, he's killed by a hog. All my eyes go by a hog. Like, how do you
ever
mean
look into a hog's eye?
Yeah, you gotta imagine him picking a banjo as he's talking.
Hog's eyes.
He's made it his mission to kill as many hogs
What
and
in
revenge
the
as
fuck?
possible.
I bet he eats bacon twice a day. Greasy son, bitch.
He's always making a whole slab. Just wants two pieces. Like, he just wastes it spitefully.
It's the principle, Taylor. It's the principle.
He absolutely hates hogs. If a hog killed my children, I wouldn't.
In the 21st century, if a hog crushes your bloodline, if a hog ends your bloodline in the 21st century, then you should figure out which demon you have summoned using the Key of Solomon, because clearly it doesn't happen to good people.
You made someone mad.
I realized I had forgotten to pray. And the Lord play. What I learned that day is the Lord plays for absolute keeps. He does not fuck around.
That was
he means every word in that damn book.
Sure enough, next day, money under my bed, just like that.
Money under my bed.
Are you serious? It killed that man's children.
That was always a story I heard, that they were playing out front. Came out of the woods, gored him.
Jesus.
Let me just, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's awful. I hope that's not true. But however, if you're dumb enough to like get gored to death by a pig on your front step, I mean, what a loser, right? What a loser.
Yeah, they were 4 years old. What an idiot.
Okay, if you're a 4-year-old, that's a very valid excuse, because you
should have been able to get out of there. Like, it's not like a 2-year-old. 4-year-old's half a man. I had a job at 6.
Why didn't he square up with it? Why didn't he show down?
If I your point, if I was killed by pigs, that'd be humiliating.
Of all the things to get killed by, right?
You have to make up a news story about how I died. Skydiving, anything but beaten by pigs and gored and eaten.
In a case of animal revenge, the likes of which we haven't seen.
then it like cuts to the Making a Murderer thing, where the guy's like, they went after him in an organized fashion. I ain't never seen nothing like it. He was carrying around the charcuterie board till it killed him. Hey, put it down. You're infuriating them with your arrogance.
There was a whole drove.
There was a whole legion of them. Wait a minute.
There was a drove of them. Right. If there were two.
It was a
Wendigoon.